Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be making 3 cards using the Spellbinders Glimmer Greetings collection. This is a brand new Christmas collection from Spellbinders. And I want to start out by sharing with you the products in this collection that I will be working with. So on the right side here, I have the Essential Diamonds. These are a set of 12 nesting dies that are in the diamond shape. And then here on the left are the Essential Arches. And these are a set of 16 nesting dies. And you can even use the smallest one to die cut a sentiment if you wanted to. But overall, these are great shapes for layering your cardstock on your cards. I will also be working with some hot foil plates. So starting on the right side, I have the Plaid Tidings background. So it is a hot foil plate, and it does put a hot foiled plaid background on your cards. And then this one is a crossed lines card front. Again, another hot foil plate with an insert that says a little something special for you. And then on the left-hand side, there is the Blooming Tree hot foil plate. This is absolutely beautiful. Wait till you see it all hot foiled on a card front. And then there are also some other pieces that go with that blooming tree. There are some leaves and flowers as well, and some dies to cut them out. So again, this was the Glitter Greetings collection by Spellbinders. There are other products in this collection, and I will have links to all of the products down in the description box below. I'm also going to be bringing in a couple products from the Celebrate the Season collection, and one is the stamp set. It's called Many Merry Christmas Sentiments. Lots of Christmas and winter sentiments for your card making. And also that large Merry Christmas sentiment has a corresponding die to die cut that sentiment out after it's been stamped. So I'll be using a sentiment from this stamp set today, and I'll also be using a sentiment from the Mix and Match Holiday Greetings. This is also part of the Celebrate the Season collection, and I just printed out what these look like when they're die cut. So lots of Christmas or winter greetings for your cards. And I'll also be bringing in the Christmas Blooms die set. This is from the Celebrate the Season collection. So lots of different dies that you can die cut different flowers and foliage for your cards. So I'll be using some of these on a few of my cards today. So I'm going to be using hot foil on all of my cards today, and I will be using the Spellbinders Glimmer hot foil system. So in case you guys are unfamiliar with how to use this system, the system is actually there on the right, and my die cutting machine is there on the left. So I'm making sure that that platform ready light, which is the green light, is green. And once that light is green, I can put my hot foil plates on the machine with the decorative side face up. And once those hot foil plates are on the platform, I'm just going to press the timer button, and notice that the timer button is blinking green. It's the bottom light on that hot foil system. And once it becomes solid, I know that those hot foil plates are now hot enough and ready to use. And it doesn't take long at all for that flashing green light to become a solid green light. And once it does, I'm going to go ahead and detach that platform from the base. And I'm going to go ahead and put my hot foil with the shiny side down over top of those hot foil plates. And then I'm going to put my cardstock on top of that, and then followed by the plates that come with the hot foil machine, and I'm just going to run that through my die cutting machine. Once I run that through my die cutting machine, I can go ahead and lift off the hot foil, and look how beautiful that blooming tree is. And then here you can see some of the additional pieces that come with that tree. Now, one of the leaves did not foil all the way, so I will be redoing that a little bit later. Now, because those hot foil plates might still be a little bit hot, I'm just going to take the magnetic pickup tool that comes with the system and just remove those from the platform and put them on that silicone cooling pad. I want to repeat this process with the same Glimmer plates using those small flowers and leaves. So I'm adding them back to the Glimmer machine, making sure that the decorative side is face up. Once that light is solid green, I'll go ahead and remove that top platform from the docking station, and I'll add the hot foil shiny side down onto those hot foil plates. I'm going to add my cardstock on top of the foil, and make sure you're using a smooth cardstock. I find that gives the best results when hot foiling. I'm going to add the two cover plates. One is a spacer pad and the other is a thin shim that come with the system, and I'll run that through the die cutting machine. And just remove the hot foil and just look at the beautiful results. So now I'm going to take the corresponding dies that come with the Blooming Tree hot foil plates, and I'm going to die cut the images that were hot foiled on my cardstock. So I'm using the Christmas tree outline die, as well as for the flowers and the leaves, and I'll go ahead and die cut all of those. Notice I am adding some tape just to keep those dies in place, because when I run it through my die cutting machine, I want to make sure I die cut them out completely. I don't want my dies to shift when running through the die cut machine. So once those are die cut, I go ahead and take the dies off, and I'll just set these die cut pieces aside, but look how pretty that Christmas tree is when it's foiled. So I did use the green foil on the Christmas tree, I used the red foil on some of the flowers, and I also used some of the gold foil on some of those leaves. So I just think this foiling is so beautiful, and it just adds an extra touch, an extra special touch to your cards. So here's a look at the negative piece that I got when I hot foiled the Blooming Tree. And of course, I don't want to waste this piece. So what I'm going to do, if you look at the hot foil machine, you'll see that there is a rectangle glimmer plate on the machine. That solid rectangle plate will allow you to hot foil all of your scraps from your original hot foil pieces, so you don't waste any of the scraps. So basically, you're taking the negative piece and you're hot foiling that in order to use all of your pieces or all of your scraps, if that makes sense. So take a look at this. When I remove the hot foil piece, notice there's like hardly anything left on that scrap piece, but it actually puts all of that negative onto your cardstock. So now you can take the corresponding Christmas tree die, just that outline die, and die cut that tree from that cardstock. So now look at the result. You get the green foiling in the background of your Christmas tree with all of the white cardstock showing, that shows all of the detail of the foliage. I think that is so beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Plaid Tidings background hot foil plate. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my hot foil system. I'm going to place my hot foil shiny side down, and then the cardstock, and then those two plates. Run this through my die cutting machine, and wait till you see this beautiful plaid background. I'm using some gold hot foil for this. You can use any color you wish. I'm going to go ahead and remove this, but I'm going to save that negative piece because I'm going to go ahead and foil that as well. But look how pretty that background is. So I'm going to set this one aside, and then I'm going to use that same rectangle solid hot foil plate and add that to my hot foil glimmer system. And once that's ready, I'm going to take my negative piece, and instead I'm turning it sideways here because the hot foil plate, that rectangular plate, is much smaller than the original background that I hot foiled. So I'm actually going to just use part of that negative piece and take a look at the result. Look how pretty that is. So now you have all that gold foiling with the white cardstock showing. And I actually did the same thing with the other half of that negative piece. So now I have these two pieces that I can use, plus my original piece that I hot foiled, and now I can use all of these pieces on cards. So now I'm going to take the original piece that I hot foiled of the Plaid Tidings background, and I'm going to use the largest arch die from the Essential Arches. I'm going to die cut that. So that is going to be used on one of my cards. Look how pretty that is. And then I'm going to take the fourth largest arch die and die cut the same piece that I originally die cut. So I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine, and then I'll set these two pieces aside. I will be using both of these die cut pieces. I'm going to take a piece of red cardstock and use this 3D embossing folder. This is the Leafy embossing folder from Spellbinders. And I'm going to be using my Spellbinders universal plate system to get the best impression from this 3D embossing folder. And if you haven't seen this universal plate system, I will put a link to the video where I demonstrated this up here at the top right hand corner. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, go ahead and click on that link. So let's take a look at the results of this embossing folder. You can see how beautiful and detailed it is on this red cardstock. And by the way, that red cardstock, I did cut it down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I also have a piece of gold mirror cardstock from Spellbinders that I cut down to 4 7/8 by 6 7/8, and I'm adding that to a 5 by 7 card base. I did cut the center of that gold cardstock out just so that I can save it. There's no need to use all of that cardstock underneath this red piece because then you're just wasting that beautiful cardstock. I'm going to be using the Merry Christmas sentiment from the Mix and Match Holiday Greetings. So I put the die at the bottom of that card just for placement, and then I'm going to start adding my arches. So I add the largest arch at the top, and I go ahead and press that down really well. I die cut a solid green piece of cardstock using the third largest arch die, and I'm going to add that to my card. So I'm adding it to that largest arch die cut piece, and now I'm going to add the next arch die cut piece. Again, this one was cut with the fourth largest die. So I have 3 different arch layers going on here, and I use that green cardstock just to add another layer and more depth to this card. I die cut the Merry Christmas sentiment out of some gold mirror cardstock, and I'm just adding it there to the bottom of the card. And I'm going to add the Christmas tree to the center. So for this card, I'm using the Christmas tree with the green background. I think that adds some nice color to the card. I didn't want to add the one with the white background because I thought it would blend in too much with the white and gold background. And then I also die cut out of red cardstock a flower from the Christmas Blooms die set, and I'm going to add that to the top of the Christmas tree. And then I die cut some of the leaves out of gold cardstock, and I'm going to add one on each side. So one on the left and one on the right. And again, those leaves are also from the Christmas Blooms die set. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I just love how this card turned out. For my next card, I'm going to be using the Christmas tree that I originally hot foiled. So this is with the positive pieces. The other one I did was with the negative pieces. And I'm actually going to take all of those little flowers and leaves that I hot foiled and die cut, and I'm just going to add them to the Christmas tree to create some dimension. So I'm adding some foam to the back of the flowers. So all of the leaves are glued to the Christmas tree flat, and both of the flowers have foam on the back so that they pop up. So here's an up close look at what that looks like. You can see the dimension there on the tree. So moving on, I'm going to work on my sentiment. I'm going to be using some embossing here. So I'm adding some powder with my Pink and Main Anti-Static Magic Brush. Just adding the powder to the cardstock, and then I'm going to stamp out a sentiment using my Versamark ink. And the sentiment is from the Many Merry Christmas Sentiment stamp set. I add some red embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat set that. And once I've heat set the sentiment, I will trim it out with my scissors, and I'll set that aside. So remember that negative piece that I hot foiled from the Plaid Tidings background? So I'm going to go ahead and take a rectangle die and die cut that piece out of the cardstock. So now I can use this on my card. So I also die cut a piece of green and a piece of red using some of the nesting dies from the same rectangle die set that I die cut the hot foil piece. These nesting dies are the Spellbinders Precision Layering Dies Set B. So I'm going to go ahead and layer all of those pieces together. So I have the green in the back, then the red in the middle, and then that beautiful foiling on the top. And I'll add my Christmas tree right to the center. I'm going to add some foam to the back of the sentiment and pop that up at the bottom of the card. And then I will add that to an A2 size white card base. My card base measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and that will complete this card. So I want to go ahead and create one more card with you, and that is using the Crossed Lines card front. This is the hot foil plate in the same glitter greetings collection from Spellbinders. I'm going to go ahead and hot foil the card front, and I'm using blue hot foil. So this card is going to be blue, gold, and white. Really, really pretty. So here's what the card front looks like. And then I'm going to take that negative piece and I'm going to go ahead and use that to I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to add it to some cardstock. I'm not going to use the negative piece on a card today, but I'll be able to save it for a future project if I want to use it down the road. So here's the negative piece. You can see it just adds all that blue with the white lines. It's just the reverse of the original. So this hot foil plate comes with a sentiment that says a little something special for you, and I'm going to go ahead and hot foil that with the same blue hot foil. And once I hot foil this, I'm going to die cut this using one of the diamond nested dies from the Essential Diamonds die set. So we'll go ahead and die cut that, and I've used the 5th largest diamond to die cut this. Now I'm going to go ahead and take one of my rectangle dies and die cut the background. So now I actually have a layer for my card. I used the Spellbinders Essential Diamonds dies to die cut 4 diamond shapes. I used the 2nd largest diamond to die cut the dark blue cardstock, the 3rd largest diamond to die cut the gold mirror cardstock, and the 4th largest diamond to die cut the bright blue cardstock, and then the 5th largest diamond will be the sentiment out of the white cardstock. And I love how all of these diamonds, not only do they layer, but then when you add it to this cross lines card front, it actually layers perfectly within those lines because you can see that the center of that card front, it is a diamond shape. So it just aligns beautifully. I'm going to add some flowers using the Christmas Blooms die set. So I'm showing you the dies that I use here for the flowers. I die cut out of some gold mirror cardstock, and I'm just layering the smaller die cut piece on top of the larger one. And I'm going to create 2 gold flowers using those layering pieces, and then I'm going to add a little dot there using the same blue cardstock that I used for one of the layers on the diamond pieces, and I'll add that little blue circle there to the middle of the flower. I also die cut some of the leaves with the same color blue cardstock. I have the darker blue and then that brighter blue, and I'm just going to position all of these leaves here off to the left hand side of this card front. I'm going to skip some of this gluing and do that off camera, and then I'm going to take this card layer and I'm going to add it to an A2 size white card base, and I'm just going to lift up some of the leaves on these flowers just for some added dimension, and then that's going to complete my card. So remember, all supplies to all the products I used will be down in the description box below, and they'll be posted on my blog, and there will be a link to my blog in the description box as well. I would love to hear which card is your favorite, so leave me a comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up button and be sure to subscribe for more card making inspiration. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.